Hey everyone, Violet here, and today I want to talk to you about NaNoWriMo. I want to tell you a little bit about what NaNoWriMo is, what my experience with it has been, and what my plans are for the upcoming Camp NaNoWriMo. So we'll talk about the differences between the traditional NaNoWriMo challenge and the Camp NaNoWriMos. So I hope that you enjoy, and if you're watching this when the video comes out, Camp NaNoWriMo is about to start in April, so this could be a chance that if this is something you're interested in, to dip your toes into it and just see how it feels. You can do it along with me, so yeah, let's get into it. So NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, and it is a challenge in the month of November for anyone who's ever had the dream to write a novel, to actually get the first draft down on paper, into the computer, wherever it's supposed to go, actually get it fully down within the month of November, which might sound crazy, but it's essentially writing 50,000 words in the month of November. And this challenge is very specific. You know, I think you kind of have to go with the 50,000 word count if you're doing the traditional NaNoWriMo on the website to be declared an official winner. And the difference between that and Camp NaNoWriMo is that Camp NaNoWriMo, which is in April and July, I believe, you can set your own goal. So you might not be writing a novel, you might be writing something else that requires a different amount of words. You might not have quite as much time. Maybe you have more time, I don't know. But also you could use that time for editing. There are so many creative ways that people use the Camp NaNoWriMo times. I personally think it could be a wonderful way to take what you write in November and then edit it throughout the year. That was one of the options I was thinking about for using Camp NaNoWriMo this year. I'll tell you what I'm actually doing here in a moment. But essentially those are the differences between the two. What I'll say is that regardless which NaNoWriMo challenge you're doing, I think it has incredible benefits for creative people in that you set a goal that even if you don't meet it, like this past year, I certainly did not meet the goal, there's this energy that all of these people doing it together, there's this energy you can kind of go with and get things done that otherwise you absolutely wouldn't have, or at least with me, I certainly didn't. For example, I had this idea to write a novel ever since 2010, like when I actually say the year, wow. I'm only just now starting to actually get it down on paper. There have been plenty of times that I've started it, stopped it, then thought, oh, I can do that better, like this perfectionist mindset comes in. Or truly what was underneath it all is like, well, I'm not a trained writer. Who am I to think I can write a novel? Anyone who reads this is gonna laugh at me, like those kinds of words, those kinds of thoughts were getting in the way. But with NaNoWriMo, you almost don't give those words and thoughts a chance because the goal is just to simply get the words out, to get that word counter up, So it's really a way to bypass that inner critic. It's a way to do it along people who, some of them I'm sure are professional writers, but a lot of them are people that are just interested in doing this, even if it's just for them. Even if what they write never reaches anyone else's eyes. It's for the process of it. So that's a major benefit. Another is that I think it's so much easier to work with something once it's already down on paper than if you're staring at a blank page. So yes, if you're, writing, just getting things out as fast as possible, it's not going to be the highest quality writing. But you know what, in my opinion, is more difficult? This is actually how my dad writes. So sorry, Dad, but I think this is more difficult, is to work sentence by sentence and try to make each thing perfect as you go. It's if you get everything out, you can see the whole shape of something, you can see the whole feel of something, and then you can work backwards from there. everyone works in different ways, but in my personal experience and opinion, I feel like this is a much better way and healthier way to approach it. I'm someone who, like, a perfectionist mindset can like totally creep in and get in the way. So I think that that's what I'm personally like battling and feeling like I need to find a way around. Another thing too, which I've experienced as a creative person, is that if I'm in a particular place in life, in a particular moment, my voice is speaking through that place and moment. And if I start a project and then I take a long break and then I pick it back up, sometimes I come back to it with a completely different voice than when I was first starting it. And I think there is something said to, like, you know, really trying to get something within a certain state that you're in so that it has like a consistency to it. I say that, but I'm also working on a novel in the span of 3 years, and I'm sure that I'm gonna shift and change plenty of times in the 3 years, and so will my writing. But it was one thought that I felt like was true with NaNoWriMo in general, is that could be one of the, you know, big benefits of it. The very first time that I did it, I actually was able to complete the challenge and win, and that was in 2021. And I wrote a children's novel. I still haven't edited it, so it's still in its first draft form, but I do think it was helpful that I wrote the whole thing within that month, so it does have the spirit of that point in my life, which was the point of first having a child, you know, having a baby, and writing a novel with my baby being like the main character, imagining him at 5 years old and he's the main character, which is, it was kind of fun. I thought very sweet. So it was super meaningful to me. And that's another thing I want to mention, is that I actually wanted to do NaNoWriMo for a very long time and I didn't do it. And it was because I always felt, oh, this isn't the right November. I don't have enough time. There's too many things going on in my life, or I'm just not quite in that perfect place to do it. And if you're feeling that way, I would encourage you to try anyway, because it was surprising to me how little amount of time I actually had to sit down and get the words out to meet that word count goal. In fact, I would say I only really needed an hour or two a day to do it, which, you know, could be a lot if you have a very busy schedule, but that was something that I could carve time out for. And I think it's important to recognize, obviously we all, you know, will write at different paces, but it's good to recognize that, you know, it's not this huge mountain necessarily, especially if you're able to consistently work on it each day. It becomes a mountain when you start like having to put it off, which is what happened to me this last NaNoWriMo. But I'll say one of the other incredible benefits of doing NaNoWriMo is meeting people along the journey with you. One of my absolutely favorite ways of working, which I do think for me works better for writing than for editing, that's something I've noticed, but writing sprints. So getting together with a group of people, it could be online, it could be in person. NaNoWriMo has like in-person groups you can go join. Setting a timer for a specific amount of time, let's say 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and everyone just focuses for that period of time. You can chit chat before and after. You can check in and say, oh, how many words did you get down? You can make it a sort of like friendly competition. But that was so motivating. That was how I was able to get so much down in a couple hours that otherwise I would just be distracting myself. I would be like researching or something, you know, rather than actually writing. And the people that I met were absolutely incredible. And some of my favorite community members, like in this YouTube community, for example, were from NaNoWriMo. So that is amazing. Like I said, there's a sort of energy with everyone doing it together. But what I like about Camp NaNoWriMo, again, it's in April and July. I believe it's July, April and July. You can set a goal that feels a lot more manageable if the NaNoWriMo typical November goal seems too large. Of course, you can do that in November too, and just keep using the same energy. But and like use it for your project rather than like the official NaNoWriMo winner goal. But I appreciate the creativity and the openness of Camp NaNoWriMo, so I'm gonna do it this year. And my plan is to make up some of the words that I actually didn't write last NaNoWriMo. So NaNoWriMo 2022 was the one that I got almost about halfway there with my word count. And so my personal goal for this Camp NaNoWriMo is to write 12,000 words, and I'm going to try to do that again in the following Camp NaNoWriMo, which I believe is in July, and also try to do 12,000 words there. So if you're participating, I would love to hear, what are you working on? What is your word count goal, or any kind of goal for it, editing goal? I thought about using this time to edit my first NaNoWriMo novel, but I think I actually work better in a different way for that. So I'm gonna figure out how to get that done, but I'm gonna go with this process, specifically the sprinting in groups process, to really stay on top of writing this more like long form epic fantasy novel, which I'm working on. I've said this before in another video, but my goal is to do Act 1, I guess this year, Act 2, NaNoWriMo 2023, and Act 3, NaNoWriMo 2024. It's a lot of different numbers to keep track of. But yeah, so I'm trying to kind of keep up with that here. So on this channel, if you want to join, my hope and plan is to do writing sprints live in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays in April. So that's the time I'm personally going to set aside to work on this. And we'll have a format where I think typically we do about 15-minute writing sprints. We chit-chat in between. I even have some inspiration cards that we can pull for some like sort of just sparks of ideas that we could use if we need it into our next writing sprint. I really, really love doing those streams. So that is my hope and that's my goal. I would so love for you to join. So yeah, that is my ramble about NaNoWriMo, my experience, my thoughts, and my goals and plans with it. So let me know, is this new to you? Is this an intriguing concept and idea? Is it something you want to start? Or is this something you have done? What has been your experience with it? What's your plan? Are you doing Camp NaNoWriMo? I would love to hear all about it. Even if you're watching this in the future and you're talking about a different year, please let me know. Also, I put in the description my NaNoWriMo username. Feel free to add me on that website. We can kind of see each other's progress and that'll be pretty fun. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. I hope that you have a lovely time writing whenever that is, or working on anything creative. And please like and subscribe. I will see you soon.